afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Heroes Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on some musky winter. Between in the north, we've got Nosliw fighting here for the Kampfgruppe with Ostrov Doctrine, versus in the south, we got Panther fighting for the United States of America for the 3rd Armored Division, rolling ahead here, clashing, or at least attempting to break through the Kampfgruppe, covering the flank of the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend. We got Rifle Company, Tactical Support Company, and Heavy Cavalry Company. There's definitely a lot of sort of, different things. A lot of firepower, essentially, different sort of armoured call-ins, and some air support there. He's got bunches of infantry and Shermans. Nosliw with a lot of mine bulletins, and all just calling up Ostrom and lines, so that way, grab more territory right off the bat. But obviously with this, he's also possibly intending to actually lay down a bunch of mines, which would further give Panther cause for grief. He's rushing for the centre here with his re-echelons, not making a direct beeline for either fuel point, but heading towards the centre, which of course on Samoski is a somewhat common move. Some players just like sort of get a grasp on the centre of the map, whereas others just sort of tend to focus on resources. Though if he's going to sort of focus on the centre of Samoski, Panther over here might want to consider actually going for Rifle Company and beginning to get flamethrowers for his re-echelons. Or he could try and aim for heavy cavalry down the road and sort of go for Rangers to sort of support that. Kind of warfare, I suppose, is the word to sort of look for. In that sense, tactical support I don't think would be too efficient due to the sort of, shorter distances overall. Whereas these ones are more, in fact, sort of meant for close quarters engagement, in particular, Rifle Company with his flamethrowers are much more sort of suited for actually flushing out infantry from structures and support weapons. In fact, we got Nosliw here with 3 Ostrom squads. That's a lot of cheap infantry, composed of Hilfswillige, Hungarians, and who knows what else. Nosliw might have been able to dust up to form up a swift Kampfgruppe to hold the line for Deutschland. Rifle neck creeping about. Points there being grabbed. Slowly moving hit, in fact getting control of both fuel points, and Panther then immediately goes for tactical support. I mean, there's a chance, I suppose, it's a misclick, but I don't know. I mean, again, considering the sort of, I don't know, again, even if he's going for sort of hit the west and the east, instead of trying, perhaps not, avoiding the centre of the map for at least a while there. I mean, it can work out quite well. East, west, much more open territory, much better suited sort of for the machine guns to gain dominance, but also with the half-tech and this AA mount, for example, could also do quite well there for Panther. So, if he's going to sort of strike here and there, tactical support's going to be pretty well. But if he really decides to focus on the centre of the map, of the buildings, or the fighting here, tactical support is going to find itself rather short in terms of utility. But there we go, going for the fuel point. We got Nosliw here following up on the 3 Ostrom with 2 machine guns, getting sort of a mix of infantry and support weaponry. And that should allow him to control some more vital points, but also just cut down infantry and sort of limit how much Panther initially could do with his riflemen. So that's overall not too bad there. Still, we got Panther here now focusing much more hard on the west there, seemingly having given up in the centre, at least for a time bit there, as German infantry continues to pour through it. And there go Pioneers and running here by the riflemen, too many M1 Garands. More riflemen around, so we're up to 4 squads there for Panther. Will he go for Lieutenant here, or will he go for the Captain? What shall his choice be? Occupying the church, quickly gnawing it to the Americans, making a rush for another building. He's basically sort of got all 3 buildings here sort of facing off against the western side of the map. But at the same time, the 2 here, for example, can't really cover well versus infantry, so it's but rather a short-term effort here for Nosliw, unless he can get up machine guns here. Otherwise, the rifle can win reasonably well. We already got technical value for Nosliw, making use of the Ostrom sort of cheaper costs, allowing to get more support weapons, but at the same time not draw 2-month resources, for example, to allow him to hold back here. So in that sense, Nosliw is sort of getting good field presence, but at the same time not sacrificing teching speed. So that's actually a very nice sort of combo there. Meanwhile, though, it seems like Panther is not playing for a swift tech, otherwise he's probably gone for Lieutenant already now, which means he's not exactly playing for the Captain. Bit of a slower approach there versus Nosliw, who of course get pack howitzers. But there we go. He is so far sticking to what makes sense most for tactical support. He is hitting the sort of the wide open territories, moving around there and grabbing territories. So in that sense, so far so good. Though he's suffering a bit here, but the cut-off point which he needs to defend, which is a bit part of the village here, and that's where also Nosliw so far is actually then putting the most pressure when we got use of the buildings and such. We got M4 choosing in the church, might move it up further here, and we got a light scout car on the way for Nosliw. Oh, never mind, looks like... Oh, no, he's going for the captain. Of course, a pack howitzer would help in sort of flashing up German troops from the buildings, but again, at the same time, there are other doctrinal choices, I think, which would also serve Panther quite well. By the way, 2-2 arming suit for this Kampfgruppe Maya. MD4 choosing sort of... actually... fell back with that one. That's an interesting decision there. Apparently, Nosliw is perhaps not quite feeling as secure here, or confident. And Noslyw's actually pulling back. 74-2 leaving the front line fighting here, actually to the Ostrom. And there we go, we got Panther there pulling forwards. Men, though, dropping dead in the snow. Red stains the white. Yes, doing what they can there with M1 carbines, rifle pushing forward, straight into the line of fire of the Ostrom. Probably should flag. Oh, we got grenades, and there we go, forces them out. Though we probably want to use on the building there. Oh well, and he might go further assault here, getting suppressed. Need to smoke out the. There we go, smoke on the MG42. Oh no, too short there. We need to get a bit more manoeuvre space, not for example to rush the MG42 to push it up. And meanwhile, Nosliw is adding a 251 half track there, being sent in, probably from the 12th SS to support the Kampfgruppe here, alongside that 222. Also, the tanks were quite beatings there, so right now his control of the centre is being a bit weak. Oh, grenade there! Almost got the Ostrom, very close there, very close there. We could see wipe, still with health. One man, there we go, wipe against Nosliw. Obviously, they are Ostrom, so, you know, considerably easier to replace. Though you could consider, of course, mixing in some Panzer grenadier, or even just an officer, but no, Nosliw is very much keen on the Ostrom. BSN's right there firing against the 2-2, which just bombards, getting off some good kills there for Deutschland. Rather than not having the best situation, but of course, with the captain out now, he can afford quite a bit more firepower. He's also getting closer to getting light machine guns, but he's not quite got the munitions for it, on the other hand. All those grenades did drain him, and there we go. Mittlere Schützenpanzerwagen rolling down the road unattended, and no infantry in it or working near it. But rolling down the high roads fast, swiftly. Ja, Ottos, this isn't exactly so Autobahn, but it'll do for the most part. Yeah. And you thought you're getting a bit more aggressive, half-check nearby to reinforce troops. The problem is, most of the troops aren't there really at the moment. And 2-2s in need of repairs as well. So will he go for some pack howitzers or anti-tank guns? Will he try and aim for a Stuart here? What will Panther's next decision be? So try and deal here with the Noslyw's Teutonic antics. Telemines down the road here. Nosliw prepared then for Stuarts and the likes in his sort of armoured assaults. 251 up there to quite far support there with its machine gun. And already getting some kills there on the American and the Yankees. And there go quick grenade and... forcing back the MD4 2-2 up now. At the same time, they're a problem. At the same time, they got a rifle squad. They're occupying it. Pushing through here, half check, pulling back. Ostrom 2-2 doing what they can. Ostrom, they need to get out of the church, otherwise, they're not going to be much help. MD4 fully treated. Grenade there against the MD4 not very well thrown though. Lands in the spot. There's not actually a lot of German infantry in. He should have smoked it probably. That would have served him better. Either way, though, rather than getting caught a bit of a crossfire, taking too much damage there from half tracks. Ostrom 222s. In fact, that was a bit of a deadly crossfire there for Panther. Nice up there by Nosliw. And basically Panther went all in into it. So right there, Nosliw was able to hold the centre of the map, and of course thanks to the half-track, any losses he suffered could have been easily replaced, allowing to much more quickly move on. But there you go, Panther's adding in a light tank, the M5 Stuart. Not to be confused with the M3 Stuart, which was more or less the same tank. The only difference is basically the M5 has a better engine and sloped armour. But otherwise I think the armour thickness was actually the same.
Just got cut off.
Rifle moving ahead, Ostrom falling back, 2-2 opening up. And half-track hanging back here, not moving up to support the frontline Truppen to provide assistance. And Nosliw here further preparing the town centre for any American assaults. In fact, he might even be using the Ostrom here as a distraction, as a delay, allowing him to actually fortify the centre here. So in this case, happily sacrificing Ostrom to prepare for what comes down the road there. Nosliw heroically doing so, courageously even, sacrificing the Ostrom, letting them die before the American onslaught. There you go, forced to fall away, but there you go, one unit actually sort of just pulls back slowly, and Ostrom do have one advantage, which actually they've been forced quickly, so working together at half-track, they can, you know, remain quite a bit there in fighting sense. But there goes Stuart rushing in, 2-2 pulling back Pioneers as well. We're going to try and bait him into the telemines. And also a fun fact about the tiller mine, it actually had several uses. It wasn't just used as an anti-tank mine, it could also be used as a anti-tank charge, where basically threw it on a tank, either as I think it's timed, We basically sort of pulled the cord. It's a little fun fact there about the telemine. Ambulance on the way there for Panther to help support his troops. Nosliw though holding on there, he's losing the west again. Panther now has access to light machine guns, but so far no sign of that. No sign of that. Perhaps he's setting up there for the AA half-track. Not a bad idea. Mines down here, further preparing. Nosliw is taking no chances with any vehicles or armour. A cautious and prudent man, this Nosliw. More coming out. I might like to see some Panther going to do on offers out to support troops, so that would be nice, but he's already taking up here, moving straight ahead. And there you go. Close there, close. No, Stuart turns and telemine goes off, knocking out the tank. Meanwhile, got a quick response there then, following up with the M5 half-track for Panther. No minesweepers. He likes to live dangerously, it seems. But it's not technically him that's living dangerously, it's his men who's going to run into the mines that live dangerously. Our way the M5 half-track out, which was rarely used by the Americans. They preferred the, I think, M3 half-track, due to having better armour than the M5, which was basically a softer metal. Here's down the fire from the Nosliw. Nosliw is supported by a 2-2 blasting at the rifleman inside the church. Ultimately forced to fall back. Got the 251 half-track back to support here. Closing in Invention 2-1. Mittlere Schützenpanzerwagen. Slow, quiet. Half-track getting the aim out, needs to be careful that it doesn't get Panther faster there. Noslyw's actually got a ton of munitions. I mean, all the bullets, it certainly doesn't hurt that. You could, of course, consider laying down S-mines as well. Moving up, no minesweepers on the way, but of course with the aim out, that's not going to happen anytime soon. We've got the captain here. Panther might want to select a different approach here in attacking, but we'll see what happens once the mount hits. We've got the pack following up there, Panzer up there, Kanone for Nosliw, and Kampfgruppe Meyer. After that, taking Nosliw there from the pack 40. Rifle moving up, continuing, he's just really pressing on offensively, head on. Pack 44 is about the half-track, got the half-track and Ostrom flanking in on the rifle. We've got troops getting suppressed there by the MG42. Grenades are going off, smoke screen there, Ostrom continuing to fight, supported by the half-track. Riflemen continue to make use of the smoke, just pushing forward, ignoring the Ostrom and the half-track on the slave flank here. That's a bit dangerous. There you go, Rifle scored. That's actually the rear cut down there, but the Ostrom overall, Nosliw just keeping up pressure on the flank. And there you go, Rifle scored also wiped out. Panther taking heavy losses, even gets the 2-2, pushes through here, gets off a grenade. They almost wipes the Pioneers, and there you go, successfully gets a wipe there, so it's not all bad, but he's still got a worry here. He's still got to deal with the Ostrom. He's still got to deal with the half-track. His rifle taking further damage. Rifle as well. He's going after the half-track. I think he's going to try and get it. Can he? Can Nosliw get it out of there? Step on it up. You can make like the Autobahn and get the fuck out of here. Schnell. And there we go. Managed to barely make it out of that one alive. More rifling on the way for Panther to place the loss there suffered. Half-track ready, fixed up. Pack 40's actually been pushed back, so that's actually the good time to follow up. In fact, all the way there at the base. Nosliw might have been a bit too eager there. That has left him open now for the half-track to rush forward. 251 needs to go away. Needs to send some Ostrom in to delay it, but no, looks like he isn't. 251 kaput. Ostrom suppressed, and there we go. Total collapse of the centre. Had Nosliw just tried to somehow sacrifice some Ostrom more, you know, he might be able to save the half-track. I also think perhaps was a bit too quick to pull back the pack 40, but again, if you've handed over to the end, of course, that's been some props our way, though. Centre has collapsed. On the other hand, of course, now Nosliw is bringing up the armour. Meanwhile, Nosliw is also mining off points here, making use of the munitions has to make it harder for Panther to harass them. Not bad, not bad. Rifleman captain sitting out there. No sign of a trouble so far there for Panther. No pack howitzers, anything similar to that. Bunker up. Panther IV halfway down there. 12th SS providing a bit of support there. 5th company has been dispatched. And there again, MG42 getting absolutely shredded there by the 4 50 calibers there mounted on the half track. So there we go. Noslyw's front line is slowly crumbling here under the half track, which is quite good at shredding infantry with the quad mount, to be honest, and that's no big surprise there. But of course now with the Panther IV out, Nosliw does possess the tool stack to really give Panther a headache again, and Panther's only got the captain here with his bazookas to really halt the Panzer IV, so the challenge is a bit there. At least I think going to need a bazooka or somehow get up some bazookas additionally. Well, anti-tank gun I mean. There. Also need to note, he's gone for tactical support, but he's yet trying to get any light machine guns. And he's also getting increasingly focused on the centre of the map. So again, the question sort of becomes if he might not be better off going either again for heavy cavalry or, well, rifle company.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Rifle and something before the map of the Panther IV supported here by a pioneer team. And there you go, 50mm gun on the way for Panther. Panther IV moving ahead here, catching rifle and capturing there, but also catching a lot of rockets in response. And there we go. Veteran 3 for the captain, moving up there for a bunch of bonuses, including sprint when he's not in combat. But also just makes him a bit more mean. Also moving ahead there, close to Veteran 3. Actually, Veteran also moving up. More following up there. Falling into buildings nearby to stall the Germans. Panther IV moves ahead. Captain there, flanking on the Panther IV. Failed to penetrate. There you go, another. Oh! Fails to penetrate again. A bit unfortunate there for Panther's bazooka crew. Air half-track moving up there. Captain moving up again though. The bazooka of course does have a high rate of fire, so even if the first one fails, you can very quickly follow up with someone that's a more likely track to penetrate. So right there, Panther IV already down to less than half health. And there goes spreading forwards. Captain doing what he can to, well, not die, but that was a bit too late there. Further troops moving ahead. Panther IV forced to fall back. More pioneers on the way for Nosliw. Also providing covering fire. Interesting to note he's not gone for an additional half track to replace the one he lost. That could have benefited, but there you go. Things look a bit more grim. And there you go. Veterans one, the anti-tank gun rifle moving in there. Could try and grenade or smoke the Pack 40, allowing him then to move in the half track again. So deal with the infantry. There you go. Anti-tank gun moving up instead. There goes grenading it, but a bit too late. I suspect smoke would have been a bit more efficient. He's going to need some repairs for his own M16 half track there, otherwise I don't think, you know, it's going to last much longer than another engagement. Up north, MG42 grabbing territory there, which has been quite soundly and thoroughly mined there by Nosliw and his Pioniere. Also Nosliw playing a bit of a dangerous game with the Panther IV this close to the front line while being repaired. One got pushed there from Panther and it could get knocked out. The question is, what is Panther planning next? I'm not seeing any tech up further, I'm not seeing additional stewards. Could he be planning for a Calliope at this moment? That's a bit risky considering his opponent's already got tanks out. And also was only at the point there was close to actually calling another one. In fact, he could go for a supply drop right now, get some fuel, and then go straight for another Panzer IV easily. We've got the anti-tank gun up there, and Rifle moving ahead, half-track supporting. But not sufficient support here. We've finally got some light machine guns for the Rifle. There go another Pack 40 hit there on the half-track. Not looking good. There we got the troop pioneers suppressed here. Allowing some further easy shots from the GIs as they move forwards. Panther IV doing what they can as well. No pinpoint machine gun there for Nosliw. Still no sign of the officer. And there we go, he's sure as well. Oh! Awesome squad out. Can I be moving up here? Panthers on the offensive. A replacement Awesome called in here for the comfortable Maya. And you know, not a lot of proper German infantry can be called in to do the fighting here. Just Awesome have to do most of the fighting. We got artillery called in here to break up the American assault here. Nosliw a bit desperate. But at the same time, of course, he might have found himself a bit opposed here by the Calliope. About to fire off its own vicious rocket barrage. And soon the Germans will have to face more, since by the looks of it, the British will get 2 new doctrines with the next patch, which includes one with the land mattress rocket launcher as well. Little fun fact, I probably should have mentioned that earlier. I suppose this was a nice little way of mentioning it. Though not quite as mobile as the Calliope, but probably cheaper and also more early accessible. The land mattress, by the way, I believe was actually based on a anti-submarine weapon. Fun fact there. But yeah, 2 new commanders, one focused on infantry. It actually allows the British to have the regular cover bonus out of cover and gets a better one while in cover. And commanders that can infiltrate, land mattress, self-repair for the vehicles, and flamethrowers for the sappers. I'm a bit worried about that. The other one based sort of more focused towards emplacements and probably see a lot of sort of, you know, attempts at sim cities, in particular in larger team games. But there you go. Second Panther come down there eyeing for Nosliw, and it's time here for the midgame analysis. In terms of damage, Nosliv's ahead. In terms of kills, he is also surprisingly ahead, despite, you know, having large relied here on Ostruben. So in that sense, he's staying somewhat alright here compared to Panther. Again, I do think Empire's done to Panther not really getting the most of his doctrine early on and being a bit slow then. Also I think, you know, overall not playing his doctrine well, and again he probably should have gone for another doctrine. In terms of whoops, wrong thing there, actually looking at points, well, army value. In terms of my value, the Panther means actually quite, he's got the overall more valuable force, you know, quite surprisingly considering everything. So I mean, it's not like, you know, he's doing completely poorly, but you know, you're still kind of surprised that the one with the Ostruben is the one not, you know, taking the most losses, though we can see there's still some differences there, but so a bit, you know, here and there, but still a bit worrying there in the sense actually for Panther. He's actually lagging behind versus an Ostruben force, but I mean, Nosliw is being pretty good use. He's also using half track, which again also means it's harder to push back. In terms of points held, he's also able to hold the territory quite nicely, again thanks to the half track and also his MG42 usage, though he has lost one MG42, which of course does hurt, though I do also think that's helped some importance then, sort of holding things off. I mean, for Panther, the real issue is what does he do now? He's got the Calibers, you can essentially sort of batter down any positions that Nosliw tried to set up, which of course forces Nosliw into more mobile combat, but he's already going there. He's getting several Panzer IVs. So really what Panther needs is more anti-tank weapons, and he needs armor of his own. You should probably consider fuel cache, in fact, around the cut-off point here to defend it versus constant harassment for Nosliw. Try to grab the fuel point here, and he should also try to harass Nosliv's fuel points as well. He needs to deny Nosliw as much fuel as possible, otherwise I fear Panther will not succeed in the longer run. That, I think, is one very important detail to note. Otherwise, more like machine guns. So part of me thinks he should go for some weapon racks just to get bazookas and so his reactions had a bit more anti-tank firepower versus the Panzer IV, but he needs tanks of his own. At the very least, a Sherman or Jackson, so at least try and keep the Panzer IVs a bit more honest. But otherwise, strike more at the fuel points, deny them more to Nosliw. For Nosliw, overall, tactically, he's doing alright there, I think, versus Panther's tanks. And Nosliw, of course, needs to adapt here to the Calliope, but he very much has the tools for dealing with it. A good assault there could at least force it back or even knock it out there. And overall, they can keep up pressure better than the Calliope can. So, I mean, in that sense, you know, Nosliw is not too bad off. I think he could consider either getting off such support his troops, maybe, you know, make more use, well, if any artillery had it. But otherwise, you know, just support his troops, lay down smoke screens, or get some Panzer Grenadiers for a bit more offensive element. Otherwise, you know, more Panzer IVs wouldn't be too bad. I mean, pressure Panther more before connecting it out any other types of tanks, in which case the Panzer IVs can do a lot, but also threaten the Calliope. So that would, you know, be a pretty, I think, solid move there. Beyond that, not so much else to sort of say here, really. So let's return to the fight. Of course, Panther, I think, needs to focus more on the sides of the map rather than the center. Again, his doctrine isn't so much meant for just, you know, that kind of, I wouldn't call this urban warfare, but rural warfare, I suppose. Demi-urban, pseudo-urban warfare.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. Ready for order.
There you go, quick occupy the position. We've got the half coming up, they're laying down a murderous hailstorm of fire versus the Ostruben and the Pioneers. Shots fired repeatedly, Panther forming in there. We've got one crossing the icy as well.
Enemy is taking our territory.
Getting ready to support the northern Truppen. And we got to push here for the southern fuel point. Panther launching a large assault. Calliope is not quite ready to launch a battle, but soon can, and could that way actually lead on a massive strike. Captain moving up, crossing through the smoke, avoiding the M4 fire. Nicely done there to tank and supporting. Pioneers fighting ahead there. Shots missed, shot missed. Calliope is ready to fire, but will he do it? Will he do it? There we go, firing. Right here up to the north against the Ostruben and the Pioneers. Can Nosliw react in time? Oh dear, that was lucky. Somewhat. Could have gone a lot worse there. Forming the Mons and centre, things go wrong there. I think you should actually try and knock out the MG42. Meanwhile, though, Panther IV striking anti-tank and has been cleared out. Misses the hard track, which is on overdrive. Captain taking huge loss there, almost wiped out. That was not an assault. I think that went too well there for Panther, to be honest. Panther IV continues in there. Continues its overdrive, rifle moving up there. Trying to perhaps stall it with an anti-tank rifle. And there we go, shots fired. Oh, in the middle of the ice, he sunk it! He sunk Nosliv's Panzer IV! Like the Bismarck. Well, not like the Bismarck, but you know, it fits more thematically than say the Titanic. Oh, way though. That was awkward there for Nosliw. And it's why you have to be careful on the ice though when you're attacking. Oh, they ground territory, they're securing it. Panther there. Yeah, I mean, had you been able to get a good hit on the rockets, you could have collapsed it quick, got a wipe there, but I think it would have been more, you know, useful than the main effort of his attack there, clearing out the support weapons there. But oh well. He still did some damage, and overall, though, he got the Panzer IV, so it's not a complete loss. On the other hand, Nosliw was able to get his anti-tank gun. You know, we also got a command bunker here. I think could have been set up a bit further there to support the troops a bit more better on the front line, but still form sort of a line of defence you can quickly set up there if things go wrong in the centre. Anti-tank gun sneaking about, also waiting away there. Got Rifleman charging for us. Come on, Joe, show those crowds for it. Give them hell. Got the Calliope moving up again, ready to unleash another rocket barrage like a very high explosive shotgun. More bazooka rockets there, bouncing off the frontal arm of the Panther IV. Bazookas did have some problems with the penetration. Some later models of the bazooka did have a bit more penetration than that. But they never quite, you know, managed to sort of hit the same levels of penetration as the Panther leg until very late in the war, if not after the war. And pretty much only saw usage in Korea, similarly to some of the variants of the M1 carbine, including the one which actually performed rather like an assault rifle. But Nosliw getting more arm. Oh, mine went off there on the rifleman, taking out quite a few there. Nice shot there, Jürgen. Pack 4 though has been cleared out. Bit of a loss there for Nosliw. There you go, bazookas moving up. Probably should try and sneak up through here, getting into the buildings, and then sort of that way engaging the Panther IV. Rather continuing up here, but they're taking fire from the Ostrom force away. Panther IV also a problem. Still, he's making some progress. We've got a half-track hanging about. He's going to sort of raid the enemy base, strike the infantry. That would be... No, decides not to, it seems. Decides not to. Anti-tank and firing away. Anti-tank and recruit. Try to knock it out here with his own. M1.
We are losing a sector.
And there you go. Panther finally taking up, going for some armor of his own. But the problem is, of course, Noslyw's already had armor out for some time, and he just keeps getting more. He is not letting up there in the Panzer pressure department. Meanwhile, though, he's fallen back here to the defensive line by the ditch, by the command bunker, giving up the centres for the time being here to Panther rather than, I think, waste troops and resources, instead just trying to perhaps set up for an assault. A single M4 left behind here, noting not in the building. Perhaps he's worried about a Calliope strike knocking out the building and the crew on top. At the same time, though, leaves it open here to the half track moving in there. Could get a wipe, could get a wipe. There we go. Very high possibility of now. That would be a huge loss there for Nosliw. We hand so the MD4 to Panther and... Good lord, there we go. MD4 now possibly in the hands of Panther. In the meanwhile, though, half 6 hits, they're closing in a bit. 3 Ostrom charging forwards under fire there from the half track. Panther 4 still are supporting. Calliope here would actually be a good time to shoot into this mix. I mean, really, just huge lump of infantry. He's already missed some opportunity, I think, to do a lot of damage there to Nosliw and break up his assault. Bit of a miss there, bit of a miss. Anti-tank down as well. Now he fires the Calliope, but I fear it might be too late here, trying to get the Panther 4's rocket strike down. Ostrom almost getting wiped in the process. More strikes there, more damage, more kills, more hits. Bazookas flying out across the rifle in there. Grenades on the Pack 40s. Half down, then meanwhile going for the cutoff point as well, keeping up pressure in that sense. Has not secured the MD42, should do that. And Panther needs some armor damn soon. Half track being repaired there. MD44 stolen away there. Panther Force blasting away at hapless targets out on the ice, which includes the captain. Well, the captain's actually dead. Just his subordinates trying to avenge him. Blowing up those damn crap Panzers, which just continues to sort of look for Joan. Oh, knocked out the anti-tank, and looks like Nosliw decided he did not need more. Then again, there's not that much armor out so far from Panther, and any armor he can get up probably sort of dealt with easily by the Panzer Force. It's not like Panther's going to be getting a Pershing, for example, anytime soon. Troops reinforcing. Calliope almost ready to fire another barrage, another volley of death against the positions of Nosliw and the Kampfgruppe Meyer. Pack 40 grabbing a point there. Half-track doing what he can. 14 kills for America. Saying those damn us from running. Also, sort of fun fact there, in the Ostrom the Americans did capture. I believe they did tend to hand over to the Russians, who obviously did just hand them tea and cake. There you go, more hits against the Panzer IV, almost eventually 2, but also down to half health. Another push here, major rifle in this sense. He's actually getting away though, he's tagged up there to Nosliw. Perhaps could have helped him a bit further back. He's not like he's going to be doing much in the offensive measures anyways. And there goes actually. Oh, yeah, that's the M42. I'm pretty sure he actually got a 50 caliber until I remembered. Oh, right. He did get an M42. More bazooka hits there against the Panzer IV. It's a bit unfortunate that his primary source of anti-tank throughout this fight really has been the captain of bazookas. He hasn't got any more bazookas, which could have helped him, but he hasn't, gotten anything else either. Pioneers wiped, annihilated, tragically so. Rather making move there, Panther being pushed back, anti-tank also a bit exposed, can't move in the half-track quite yet.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
More pioneers on the way there for Nosliw. Panther 4's running forwards, almost victory 2. Got a counter-offensive against. Panther actually feeling pretty confident. Oh, he's stolen the Pack 40 there, not bad, not bad. Panther 4 needs to be careful. Good hit there, Panther 4 not getting victory 2. MD42 crew annihilated here, but the Panzerkampfwagen 4. With Schürzen up now. Which though would be replaced by Weimar Schürzen later in the war, since they were thought to be more effective actually against heat rounds like bazookas and well-captured Panzerfausts. Up north territory they've been grabbed by the Ostrom. Troops hanging about there, and we got a third Panzer IV, well, technically a fourth Panzer IV on the way there for Nosliw. Really building up the arm advantage as Panthers yet to get out anything from here. Is he playing for the Jackson or is he playing for the Sherman? A Jackson that probably would be a help there versus all the Panzer IVs. The Sherman might also work out in some senses. For to recruit. I mean, Panther's actually got a larger force here than Nosliw. He's not quite getting the most out of it. He also seems to be getting a bit the flanks. Oh, never mind. Half check on the move. Very close to Excellency Fleet. Bad news for any German infantry caught. Getting shredded up close, and there you go, Excellency Fleet. Encounter of the quarter-mounted kind. Another push forward to entertain exposed. In fact, Noslyw's got no machine guns left now, which does leave the Panthers in somewhat empowered to a certain extent, of course. So the Panzer IV said, well, Calliope barrels already. I think that might have been a bit overly optimistic there by Panther. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Careful, you're moving your own men into the rocket barrage. Mentioned one another Panther IV, there you go. Additional Panther IV arrives, so now Nosliw does possess quite the armoured force here, real armoured fist of the Reich. Panzer IV flanking in from the south. Half in support, that's a bit risky. Pack 40 brigade to guard the centre, captain as well. Jackson on the way there for Panther. Jackson on the way. Heavy tank destroyer on the way. It looks like getting paid to counter the assault through here. Anti-tank on the up, got Calliope setting up as well. But at the same time, as soon as he does that, Nosliw unleashes the second part there of his armoured fist and strikes from the other end there, where he now, of course, is too focused on the Panzer IV. He leaves his flanks exposed, going straight there for the Pack 40. Misses rather astoundingly, even the Calliope there, allowing in fact the Calliope perhaps to get out of there pretty quickly. That's a bit unfortunate there for Nosliw, but still, he's determined to get that bloody thing out of the war. Shots bouncing or failing to hit. Oh dear. Half-track firing away meaninglessly. Jackson almost ready, going in for the Panzer IV, perhaps a bit worried then now, of course, due to previous memories. Both shots bounce off the front of the Calliope. Artillery strike called in the infantry. Earlier, rather than getting caught by the Panzer IVs, getting bombarded, getting annihilated, and they might have to retreat right through the railway artillery there, raining down like hot death. And there goes Jackson, moves in, gets off a good hit, then gets eventually 2 Panzer IV, but he shoots and misses. Fights, where are you aiming? Panzer IV's rolling back. Panzerkampfwagen 4. So that is quite a sizable armour contingent here that Noslyw's managed to build up. Of course, now Panther does have a bit of a counter there, though I still think he needs to sort of buff up more. And I think one of the cheaper options, he would basically right now go for a weapon rack, throw in some bazookas, and that way just, try and take over Noslyw's Panzer IVs. I mean, the Panzer IVs, even with Victory 2, are not going to be exactly fully impervious to the bazookas, so in that sense it wouldn't be a bad choice there for Panther. And he's got the means to at least get 3 bazookas out, which could give him a bit of an extra amount of punch there versus the Panzer IVs. We're going the Panzer Abwehrkanone 40. The primary anti-tank gun for the Germans for most of the war, actually. Well, for who can actually get it, they don't still use Pak 38s, for example, with some units, because they couldn't anything bigger. In some cases, they actually used even the Pak 36. So that was one of the bigger problems with the German army. They couldn't really always get the things they needed, and the industries rather had a hard time keeping up. Sometimes they'd be using other weapons, like, for example, CIS-3 guns converted to sort of be fully rifled. Rockets there, and there we go, got the anti-tank gun crew. Well, perhaps a bit of a waste there, the Calliope barrels. Jackson getting the tank fits from the Panzer IV, though. Close to Victory 2 there as well. Fighting through the ruined cemetery. In fact, I'm surprised no corpses appeared out of some of these massive craters dug into the cemetery. Meanwhile, down south, they've got Ralph Scott being engaged by Panzer IV. Anti-tank is going off. Jackson moves in. Rather than the close getting wiped out. There goes shots fired straight into the side of the Panzer IV. Doing quite a bit of damage. Got the half-turn moving up there. 19 kills for America. Anti-tank is coming in. Jackson going into the game. Getting a bit close. Shot fired. And there you go. Almost got the Panzer IV. Almost got it. No Panther fast there from Nosliw. In fact, there we go. Sent running. And we got a strafing run. At the same time, though, again, as soon as he's sort of reacting to one, he sends into the other 2 Panther IVs flanking, and there you go, catches the Jackson out in the ice. And there you go, sinks the Jackson. Meanwhile, Cap's got off a few shots there with the Panther IVs, quick to fall back there. Now both Victory 2, now both armoured with additional Stuarts, and there you go, Captain moving up there, firing with the bazookas at close range for additional penetration, but there you go, Captain's running again, half-tank moving, can't do much.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
And White, finally the Captain's flame is finally completely extinguished. No replacements, no nothing, all dead forever. And with the loss of the Jackson, Panther is with few options here trying to defend himself against the Panzerkampfwagens. Forced to cross the cold and unforgiving ice where so many of their comrades have fallen or sunk into the ice, never to be seen again. Well, until summer, that is. Calliope barrage, he's actually trying to use it as an anti-tank gun to catch the tank. The problem is Noslyw's already moving out of the sonar operation here for the rockets. And still got 1 Panther IV, they can still fire another Jackson away, half-turning up there, firing away. 20 kills there. It served Panther well, certainly. And we're getting a 4th Panzer IV for Nosliw. That's with a 5th one there, actually a full Panzer IV platoon he's actually able to bring in. A bit impressive, really. 30 kills there, almost victory for a true hardened crew of veterans. There you go, going straight for the west there, going after the half-track. Half-taking a lot of trouble there, fires. Misses overdrive. Verdammte Amerikaner. Stay here and die, like men. There you go, continues, there you go, straight into the rifle note. Jackson almost done, additional Panzer IVs ready to move in soon. Well, this one seems to have been slightly forgotten in a crater. There we go, veterans who won. Going straight for the rifleman, getting perhaps a bit too close down to tank rifle, net fired and damages the engine. M36 Jackson blitzes ahead, half-track ready to support to keep any infantry at bay, though it's really the armour that's the problem. The half-track can't do so much versus that. Engaged from the rifle caught up. Now we got Panther IV striking for 7 points. In fact, getting caught here between 3 Panther IVs. Jackson, though, flanks anti-tank grenade goes off as well. Panther IV down to half health already. Bad start there for Noslyw's Panzer crew, but overall looking good beyond that. Almost got it, almost got it. We got 2 more Panther IVs that could strike. In fact, we got 1 more here. That's ready to blitz in. Major rushing for the central victory point. Panther IV getting the Jackson. Jackson a bit too close. Panther IV almost knocked out here. Half health already. Jackson closing in veteran 2-1. Another hit there, but Panther IV slowly moving in from the south. Good pass to the blitz. Impact 40 moving. Jackson needs to build more distance. And there you go. Oh, briefly looked like Blitzkrieg. And there you go. Didn't even need it. Jackson knocked out with that. Panther's pretty much without any options really resisting Nosliw at this point. And there you go. Panther renders a victory for Deutschland. A victory for the Kampfgruppe Meyer. And its SS support of the 12th SS Panzerdivision Hitlerjugend. Providing in the end a full Panzer platoon there for the Kampfgruppe. Panther, I think, overall was partly undone by his very early doctoral choice of tactical support on a map, which perhaps didn't quite favour it, but could have done it if he'd sort of focused on the sides instead. He got too caught on the centre of the map, and I think that was in part what hurt Panther, and ultimately that was really his intent. He should have gone for rifle company or heavy cavalry. Either of those would have served him much better, and I think he also went for the Calliope too soon, even then perhaps didn't use it too effectively. Combine that with a lack of sort of anti-tank guns and bazookas to at least keep the armour somewhat at bay, and overall Panther just sort of slowly, was pushed out of the field by Nosliw, who I think kept a sharper head. Also read his opponent quite nicely, used Panzer IVs when needed, but also tried to make good use of half-tracks and mines to sort of counter any sort of initial efforts there from Panther. So overall, very well played there by Nosliw. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gives you decent matches. If it did, want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send a reply or find some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Link saying cheers, thanks for watching, and hope to see you all another time. Bye.